Hello there and welcome. Today I will make a free-form bonsai pot in clay. And just as a test, I am not even going to wedge this clay. I take it straight out of the plastic bag and start making it from there. It's always great to wedge your clay before you start making anything, because then all the air in the clay goes away and you get a great plasticity in the clay too. I start by making a small hole in the middle, just by using my knuckles and my hands. And as you can see, I have this chipwood board as a base to work on. That's really good because the clay won't stick to that, and I can use it when I want to keep the shape of my bonsai pot. As always, your hands and your fingers are the best tools that you can use with clay. You get a great feeling, you can feel how thick the walls are and how thick the bottom is, just by using your hands and your fingers. I want this pot to be a little bit rough in shape, so the walls are going to look a little bit different from each other. If you have a turntable, it's really great to work on. Then you can just put all your energy on thinking about how the pot is going to look from all the different angles and sides, and you can just turn it around easily. As you can see, I pull the clay with my fingers. This way I get the height I want and also the shape that I want. If you make a bonsai pot like this, take your time to get the perfect shape in the beginning and work from there. And I have a lot of time, because in Finland it's actually the last day of 2023 today. We have 15 degrees cold in Celsius, and right now the sun is up only from 10:15 in the morning until 14:47. That's about 2:45 in the day. So there's a lot of winter still before this pot goes outside. I use this metal tool to scrape away a little bit of clay from the bottom, because I want it to be flat and even in thickness all the way. As you can see, it's still a little bit rough on all the edges. Always when I work with clay, I usually have one hand free and feel the thickness with that one. So you can see I have one hand inside of the pot and the other one is doing the work on the outside. I want my pot to have a natural look. It should look a little bit like wood or rock. So that's why I scrape it on the outside too. The clay I use today is a stoneware clay, and that's really good because then I can have it outside even in the Finnish cold winter. And as you can see, I don't use that much water. I just dip my fingers now when almost everything is done. I don't want a flat rim on this one, so I carve a little bit and make spikes and natural looking things. But I don't want them to be really pointy. So I dip my fingers and try to get them smooth, but still spiky. When all of this is done, I am going to burn my bonsai pot in 2 different firings. I need a kiln, of course, because the first fire is in 800 degrees Celsius or 1470 degrees Fahrenheit. And then after that, I will glaze it and burn it again in 1250 degrees Celsius. And that's about 2280 degrees Fahrenheit. My pot has now been drying overnight, so I just fill it with polystyrene in a plastic bag, turn it upside down, because I need to attach some legs to my pot. So I score the bottom and put a little bit of slip where the legs are going to sit. I just cut a coil into 4 same-sized pieces of clay, and they are going to be the legs. And my little helper, he tasted the clay also, of course. When you attach legs like this, it's important that you press them hard against the surface so that they actually stick. I don't want these legs to just stand out like this. I want them to look like they just belong to this pot, and that they go on from the top of the pot down all the way. So again, I scrape a little bit and try to make them look like they belong. The design of the feet, that's also important, of course, but you can make them in many different ways. The clay is still a little bit too wet to handle the weight. So I place a piece of clay in the middle of the bonsai pot, and when I turn it around now, that will also carry the weight of the pot, so it will actually look the same. I will of course take the piece away when it's dry enough. Some last minute checkings, and after that I will just leave it to dry. The drying process will take about 1 week, maybe just a few days, depending on how well you cover it up with plastic, for instance. I also need to make a few holes in my bonsai pot before it dries completely. I make one big in the middle to drain the extra water in summer, and a few for the wires. I am now happy with the design, so I leave this to dry. And this is what it looks like when it's completely dry. I bisque fire it, and this is what it looks like after that. I have two different glazes that I brush on my pot. One is a little bit grey, and the second one is more greenish. And as you can see, I just brush it on here and there. This glaze is now the second layer, and it's the green one. Because of the cold Finnish winters, I need to glaze it also a little bit on the inside, so just a thin coat. After that, I burn it for the last time in the kiln. And here is the final result. I hope you enjoyed this video, and maybe you get some ideas on how to make an easy bonsai pot yourself. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you all a great new year if you watch this right now. So, thank you, and consider subscribing. Bye bye.